What's going on, guys? It is Horse Beef here, and I'm talking about UFC 318, which took place last night. And what a banger card overall. What a fantastic card. Just another card that flies in the face of all expectations, right? Because this card on paper was terrible. It didn't take a genius to say it, right? Just you look at the fucking card. There were like barely any ranked fighters even on that fucking card. It was ridiculous, right? On paper, it was pathetic. But all of the fights, at least majority of the fights, rose to the occasion. And it seems like all of these fighters were just in some kind of an unspoken agreement that this is Dustin Poirier's retirement fight. He's a warrior. So let's go to war for him and bleed for him. Because this card alone, like, other than the main event itself, right? Dustin Poirier versus Max Holloway, a fantastic fight. It was an absolute war. Of course it was, right? As we were all expecting. But as good as this fight was, it wasn't even the best fight of the night. And I know Max Holloway and Dustin were confused about how they weren't given fight of the night. But did you watch Kevin Holland versus Daniel Rodriguez? Or did you watch Marvin Vettori versus Brendan Allen? Now, this fight was maybe on the level of Vettori and Allen, which I think got fight of the night. But I thought it would have been Kevin Holland and Daniel Rodriguez because holy shit, dude. What an absolute scrap, man. Kevin Holland and Daniel Rodriguez have both punched their tickets. And they have their place reserved in Valhalla. You know, in fact, most of the people on this card do, right? Fucking same thing with Vettori, same thing with Brendan Allen. Holy shit, dude! And not even just those fights. Like there were other really great scraps on this card, but those two in particular, and of course along with the main event, dude, just completely delivered in ways I don't think anyone would have expected. But I will get more into those fights as we continue on with the video, but I would like to focus on the main event for now. And what a fight it was, dude. In the first round, I was thinking that Max Holloway had a major speed advantage over Dustin Poirier, and that proved to be the case throughout this entire fight. But just like their last fight, Dustin Poirier was able to meet Max Holloway in the middle, throw with him. And when he threw with Max Holloway, he was able to crack him and actually get some reactions out of Max. Fucking dropped him at the end of round 2 after getting hurt real bad in round 2, man. And I don't know, Dustin Poirier just looked so chinny in there at times. Like he was reacting to shots like I wasn't used to seeing him react to shots at 155. But for Dustin Poirier to fight back from that early adversity, get that knockdown at the end of round 2, and then shoot for the guillotine, man, he probably shouldn't have gone for that. Probably should have kept punching Max Holloway, realistically. But he wanted that storybook ending. And if the fight did finish like that, I would have believed that it was scripted. That would just be way too clean and perfect of an ending for Dustin Poirier there. It would have been way too perfect. I would have been skeptical and would probably go back and with my conspiratorial brain try and find little hints and nods to the fact that this fight was scripted. Honestly, this shit would have been the new 9/11 or JFK conspiracy theory if Dustin had finished the fight with a guillotine in that moment. It just would have been too perfect. But Dustin did himself proud, man. Even in defeat here, I know he was saying that he thought the fight was a lot closer than what the scorecards were saying, but I think a lot of that had to do with maybe just the crowd reactions and the commentary. Like maybe Dustin couldn't hear the commentary team, but obviously the crowd was out of their seats every single time Dustin landed anything of any significance, or even times when he was partially landing, right, the crowd would erupt. You know what I mean? So maybe that played a part, but also Dustin's the one in there, so he's the one landing the shot, so maybe he felt like he was doing more damage than he actually was. But man, watching the fight back again after watching it live, I came to the same conclusion that Max Holloway, you could honestly score the fight 5-0 for him if we're being real. Despite how competitive it was, it had a very, very clear winner, and it's just better for the UFC that Max won this fight because he's the one sticking around, and there are some real fun matchups for him at 155. I would personally do Max Holloway versus Paddy Pimblett for the number 1 contenders slot, and then just do Ilia Topuria versus Arman. Let's just get that fight out of the way. Do Ilia versus Arman at this point. I don't even think that Arman is a nightmare matchup for Ilia anymore. The more I think about that fight, the more I figure that Ilia would probably catch him like he has his last few opponents. But then if Max is to beat Paddy, which I think he would, I think Max beats a lot of these dudes, honestly, at 155. I think he beats most of the top contenders. He's just really good. And this performance once again speaks volumes to how good Max Holloway is. He only loses to the best of the best. And I think if he is to fight Ilia Topuria at 155, I feel like the fight could be a little bit different, but I still do think that Ilia would find his chin at some point. I do think he would find his chin, and I think the same result would take place. But dude, Max would be a long reigning champion if he didn't exist in the same era as some of these absolute killers. Because just look who's beaten Max Holloway: Dustin Poirier, Volkanovski, Ilia Topuria. if he did not exist with these absolute killers, like just like think about that. Max Holloway at 145, he's reigning, and then he runs into Volkanovski, right, one of the greatest fighters of all time. He goes up to 155, destroys Justin Gaethje, all right, and then moves back down to fight Ilia Topuria, gets knocked out. You know what I mean? And Ilia Topuria is already being touted as like a future GOAT, so it's just so unfortunate. And then of course you have the Dustin Poirier trilogy, which Max Holloway finally got the win in, which is fantastic for him. But Max Holloway would just like he would be a long reigning champion if Volkanovski and Ilia Topuria just didn't exist. Imagine if they didn't exist. Max Holloway could potentially be the GOAT at this point. He's so damn good. And he looked big in there too, man. He's really filled out at 155. He looked bigger than Dustin. Maybe that was a bit foolish of Dustin to go in there looking so lean. Like, he looked crazy ripped. I had never seen Dustin Poirier looking this fit going into a fight. But maybe he should have held a little bit of mass. Like, maybe he could have taken those punches a little better, because it was like the complete inverse. Like, Dustin Poirier looked like so much bigger and thicker at 155, their second fight, and this time around Max looked a lot bigger than, like, the size of Max Holloway's head, dude. He looked so fucking big in there, like way bigger than even he looked against Justin Gaethje. So he's truly filled out as a real lightweight. He's here to stay. So it's only good for the company, good for the division, for the 155-pound division, that Max Holloway won the fight. And I'm happy for the guy. Man, he earned it. It was a beautiful fight. He dominated the fight for the majority of it. I will admit, even though I was rooting for Dustin Poirier, and even myself, like, in the moment, I'm not immune to overreacting to certain moments from Dustin Poirier, thinking that this shot had more effect on Max than it actually did, just because I'm rooting for Dustin Poirier to get back in that fight, right? But Max Holloway performed fantastically, and I can't take away from his performance, just because Dustin Poirier is washed. I don't think Dustin Poirier is washed. I think he looked great in there. I think he looked great. He looked faster than he did against Islam Makhachev. He by no means looks like he lost a step whatsoever inside the octagon. The only thing we can say about Dustin is that maybe he was more chinny. That's it. That's the only thing I can say. But then I can say the same thing about Max too, right? Coming off that knockout loss to Ilia Topuria. But what a fight, dude. Honestly, these dudes scrapped. It was a fight worthy of a Dustin Poirier retirement. Fantastic. I think it was about as perfect as it could have been. Obviously, you could say that a Dustin Poirier going off on a win would be more perfect, but then where would that leave Max Holloway? You know what I mean? So when I think about it, it's just better for the sport. But I just want to give one more thank you to Dustin Poirier for all the wars, all the scraps, all the moments inside that octagon, the bloodshed, everything, man. Just thank you so much. The blood, sweat, and tears that you sacrificed for our entertainment, for our enjoyment. And nobody, I can't think of a single fighter, honestly, who's more deserving of this kind of a send-off. Obviously, he was never undisputed champion, and some people will say, well, how about this guy or that guy? I get it. But Dustin Poirier, he was never at the forefront. He was never really the center of attention. He was never supposed to be a big star. But I believe that Dustin Poirier, his story, right, the way that he spoke, right, his demeanor, everything about him just resonated so much with the fans that Dana White could not help but put Dustin Poirier in the forefront. And I'm so glad that I was here to witness it, man. Thank you, Dustin Poirier. Happy retirement, legend. And now I'd like to break down the rest of the card, starting with the first fight of the night, man. Carly Judice got us started off with a beautiful knee to the body, TKO, and she was always going to win this one. I think the finish was honestly coming from a mile away. She looked sharp. She was on it, just putting hands, just piecing up, man, putting a clinic on Callier. It was honestly a great performance from Judice, man, in front of her hometown crowd as well. Fantastic performance, great finish. Bruno Ferreira got Jackson McVeigh out of there in round one via submission. I predicted a second round TKO, but Jackson McVeigh, man, just another inexperienced 6-0 fighter who is pushed to the big stage way too fast. Like 6 fights in professional MMA should not get you anywhere in the UFC whatsoever. It just, for me, it's way too hard of a push and can just straight up derail these guys' careers. So Jackson McVeigh, hopefully he can claw back from this, because he does seem relatively skilled. But this was just too much of a push for him. Like, Bruno Ferreira's been in there with some serious killers. There was no way that McVeigh was going to win this one. And yeah, man, great win for Bruno Ferreira. Ryan Spann made easy work of Lukasz Brzeski, as I expected. I expected a first round KO, but man, he just took him down, completely dominated him, and made him tap. Arm triangle. Simple as that. Very, very easy for Ryan Spann. emotional post-fight speech as well, praising the Lord, which I always have to respect, of course. Yeah, man, great win for Ryan Spann. Good to see him picking up some wins at heavyweight. Jimmy Crute got his first win since 2020. I did predict a victory for him, but I did not predict a first-round submission. I thought this fight would be a little closer contested, but Crute would come out on top with his superior skill. But yeah, man, a first round armbar thing was nasty looking, just contorting Pacquiao's arm all over the place. I would be surprised if he got out of this fight without at least some kind of ligament damage, because that was brutal, man. Good win for Jimmy Crute. The Zoolander of MMA, Islam Dulatov, with a nasty knockout in the first round. I predicted a first round KO. This dude just seems to have the it factor. Hammers in his hands, great technique, man. Very, very crisp striker. He may be a problem, and he's a male model, which is just crazy, and he already has money, so it's just so weird that he's coming from such a polar opposite way of life into fighting, but it works for him. So shit, dude, if he's gonna continue doing runway shows, but then proceeding to knock dudes out, like, I just can't talk shit about him and call him fruity or anything. I can't do as much as I would like to. He would clean my chin out, so fuck, man. He leaves me feeling so conflicted, this Islam Dulatov, but he is a fucking beast. And he's here to stay, dude. He's a real prospect. He's good. Atiba Gauthier is scary as shit. He's so fucking big. He honestly just reminds me of a smaller Francis Ngannou, and at his age, I find it hard to believe that as he gets older and becomes even bigger and fills out even more somehow, like, I can't believe it. This guy's genetics are fucking ridiculous, dude. He's so big. I don't know how he makes 185, and I think as he progresses in his career and matures, like I say, he'll probably inevitably have to move up to 205. I just cannot see him making this weight for very much longer. He's so massive, but he's very calm, he's very composed, and he's very technical on the feet. Carries a lot of power. This guy is a legitimate problem. Like, I understand saying that he's going to be, just wait till he gets fraud checked, whatever. But watch the guy fight. At his age, look at how calm he is, how collected he is. Even in his post-fight speeches, dude. The guy's mindset is there. It's very strong. His skills are there too. And at his age, rapid improvement can occur. And if it does occur, I'm worried for the future of 185 and 205. Atiba Gauthier is legit. He's legit. Then we have Prado versus Veretennikov. Now, I thought Prado probably won rounds 2 and 3. I thought he should have gotten the decision there, but Veretennikov got it. He looked pretty good, dude. He just gassed out like halfway through the second round. Looked great in the first round. Was lighting up Prado. Prado, he probably needs to move down in weight. Like, why are you fighting at welterweight? It makes no sense to me. Like, obviously he's a pretty stocky dude, but he just looks tiny in there compared to Veretennikov. Veretennikov looked huge. Prado looked tiny, but he's very gritty as always. Super, super tough. Very hard to put out. And he came back. I thought he did enough to win the fight, but I guess Veretennikov, it was a somewhat decent performance, I guess. He is a pretty fun striker to watch while he's fresh. But this was a war. And I feel like it's being overlooked because of some of the other insane fights that took place on this card, but this one was great. Marvin Vettori versus Brendan Allen was an absolute barn burner. These dudes clearly hate each other, I mean, for obvious reasons, and they fought each other like they hated each other, and I have to say thank you to both these dudes because I remember Manel Kape versus Mokaev. These dudes are like creasing, man. They can't wait to get at each other. And as soon as the first bell rings, oh, pussyfooter on the octagon. We're point fighters now. All of a sudden, ha ha ha! Fucking stupid. These two fought like they hated each other, and it was an amazing war. And I think Brendan Allen deserved the win. I hear some people saying that maybe Vettori should have won, maybe rounds 2 and 3, but Brendan Allen did a lot of damage to Vettori. He didn't really compound that damage as much in rounds 2 and 3. So I know what people are saying, right? Most of that damage from Allen did take place in the first. But every time he was landed on Vettori's nose, it was clearly affecting him. But Vettori, at this point, man, since we lost Max's chin against Ilia Topuria, didn't necessarily lose his chin because he showed to still have a great chin against Dustin Poirier, ate some big shots. But Vettori, at this point, has to be known as the greatest chin of all time. Simply has to. Man's nose was shattered in the first round. I know we're not talking about his chin necessarily, but just his ability to take shots and wear damage. Vettori is a fucking zombie. But he needs to find a new corner, a new team, because he's just not improving. Fight over fight, he's just not improving whatsoever. He has all of the physical attributes, the physical toughness, the ability, just the stubbornness to keep moving forward. That if he had the skills to go along with it, man, he could be a champ. He could be a champ. But Brendan Allen just went out there and was the more technical of the two on the ground, on the feet. He was the more technical. And he beat up Vettori. He did, but even though Vettori, he landed some great shots of his own, some great left hands, especially in that third round. He was knocking back the head of Brendan Allen. But what a fight. I know some people are going to go at Allen for bringing up his brother, like bringing up his own brother, who I didn't realize is a quadriplegic. So he was just, talking about how his brother inspires him, I suppose, right? And his brother was in attendance that night. And Marvin Vettori did lose his brother, his younger brother, not too long ago. I forget how, and I actually wasn't even really aware of it up until last night. I was completely unaware that he lost his brother. So I want to say my condolences. That's absolutely terrible. As somebody with a brother, I couldn't imagine losing my own brother. That would just be awful. So my condolences to Marvin Vettori. It's terrible, and I think he made his brother proud with how hard he fought on this night. And I don't really know if Brendan Allen is that petty to where he would have spitefully brought up his brother like that. Maybe that was in the back of his head to be spiteful, and I understand why your snap reaction would be to assume that Brendan Allen was just being an asshole in that moment. But I think we should give him the benefit of the doubt at this point, because like that would be very shitty, super insensitive. And I think Brendan Allen made some comments in the post-fight press conference as well, to where he shut down those rumors, and he was pretty much just saying he just brought up his brother because of the fact that his brother inspires him, being a quadriplegic and all that. You know what I mean? So let's pump the brakes a bit. I understand hating Brendan Allen, but I don't think that he was going out of his way to be a douchebag to Marvin Vettori in that moment and trying to rub salt in the wounds. I don't think that that's what was going on, even if that's what it seemed like in the moment. You know what I'm saying? We have a Yuri Prochazka at 135. I didn't realize this until last night. Maybe I haven't been paying attention, closely enough. But Vinicius Oliveira fights like Yuri Prochazka. He moves forward with no regard for his own safety, no defense, hands down all the time, throwing from the hip, throwing whatever he can think of, whatever comes to his head, he just throws, right? The kitchen sink. This guy has the kitchen sink fight style, hands down, marauding style, and I love it. He beat the shit out of Kyler Phillips after getting cracked a good amount, but Kyler Phillips has no gas tank, man. This guy has like 3 nice sharp crosses in him before he is just sucking wind and getting walked down. And maybe it just had a lot to do with the fact that Vinicius Oliveira, he did not care about anything that Kyler had for him. He like showed no respect to anything that Kyler was throwing at him the entire fight. And like surely Oliveira gets chinned at some point for that. But up until that point, I will be tuning into every single one of this man's fights, because like I say, he is the 135 Yuri Prochazka, and I'm here for it, baby. This man is entertaining as shit. God bless Michael Johnson, man. He proved me wrong. I love seeing a 39-year-old veteran like Michael Johnson put a string of wins together, especially against this young little point-fighting fuckhead in Daniel Zellhuber. Man, like I'm sick of Eric Nixick and his cornering. I don't understand what he's going for whatsoever. It's like he's purposefully training fighters to be passive sparring partners inside the octagon. It makes no sense. All Daniel Zellhuber had for the entirety of this fight was the high kick. He was just trying to damage the left arm of Michael Johnson, even in the third round where he was clearly behind 2-0 on the scorecards. All he could throw was the right high kick at the left arm of Michael Johnson. That's all. He was like throwing investment shots at the end of the 5th because he could not land anything else. Daniel Zellhuber is overrated as shit, and I think he needs to find a new coach. Eric Nixick, I mean, just based on this and the fact that Dan Ige went out there, was down 2-0 in the scorecards going into the 3rd and did the same fucking thing, man. Fought passively as all hell. I'm pretty sure Nixick's fighters just spar so often to the point where it blurs the lines between what a fight and what a sparring session is. And I just think that these fighters don't know how to turn off sparring mode. 24/7 in sparring mode, and it makes for very uninteresting fights. But I'm very happy that the man who actually came to fight, Michael Johnson, won the scrap. Love seeing a veteran like him win. Like I said, I didn't really appreciate him during his come-up, but now that he's an old veteran, old dog, beating some of these up-and-comers, I very much appreciate Michael Johnson. The guy's an absolute dog and a fucking legend. Patricio Pitbull got his first win in the UFC. Good for him, got the monkey off his back. And it was honestly a pretty decent performance. I know the crowd was shitting on him, but he looked pretty good, man. He showed his well-rounded skill set. That sharp right hand that he landed, like that slip-off right hand that he landed on the chin, or like right on the nose, actually, of Dan Ige, that sat him down for a moment, was nasty. He had him hurt. Dan Ige hurt Patricio Pitbull like bad with a head kick in the 3rd round. I think the knee connected, and that landed flush, and he ate that, man, and survived. And like I understand people shitting on Patricio for the performance. Like it was relatively passive, But Dan Ige is a dangerous opponent. He went in there. He did his thing against him. He's 38 years old. Like, I get it, man. He's old. He's past it at this point. But just let the man get a win in the UFC. Give him his flowers. It is what it is. Patricio Pitbull is a good fighter. He's fine to have on the roster. I have no issue with him winning this fight. Dan Ige has always been a victim of himself. And these 3-round fights, he always allows himself to fall behind when he has every opportunity to get back in the fight. He's too passive. Like I said, Eric Nixick in his corner. He was clearly 2 rounds down going into the third. Eric Nixick has the gall to say, listen, man, you may need a finish, but I don't know. No, man. At that point, you need to be spurring on your fighter and saying, you need a fucking finish right now. Go out there trying to take off his head. Especially when you have somebody who can punch like Dan Ige. I don't understand it. Very well-deserving win for Patricio Pitbull. I know some people aren't happy about it, but I'm personally happy to see him get his first win inside the octagon. Holy shit, this fight was something else, man. It was something else. Daniel Rodriguez looked better than ever tonight. He looked sharp. Dude, he looked sharp. Those step-back counters he was landing on the chin of Kevin Holland. Kevin Holland's chin needs to be put in a museum at this point. Like, it's honestly up there with Marvin Vettori. Like, we've seen him eat flush headbutts, go down, and instantly recover. I don't know what it is about Kevin Holland. This dude is so hard to finish. And the fact that he was still able to rally back and almost finish Daniel Rodriguez in the third round. But then for Daniel Rodriguez to show the level of toughness that he showed, man, he was getting booed in there. After a scrap like that, the Louisiana crowd should be ashamed of themselves because you should be cheering for these dudes. I don't care if you're preferring that Kevin Holland wins a fight. No, Daniel Rodriguez deserved to win that fight based off rounds 1 and 2. Kevin Holland had a great third round there. Just fucking cheer these men on for what they delivered with you guys. The level of entertainment they delivered. What a crazy scrap between these two. That's an all-time war right there. The fact that we had Joshua Van like a few weeks ago, Joshua Van, Brandon Royval, and then we had this fight. We had Marvin Vettori and Brendan Allen, Max Holloway, Dustin Poirier, Volkanovski, Diego Lopez. 2025, like, even though it's not as hype a year for the UFC as previous years, some of the fights, man, have been ridiculous. And this is one of the best I've seen in quite some time. Hats off to Kevin Holland. Hats off to Daniel Rodriguez. I picked Kevin Holland to win. Daniel Rodriguez looked awesome. Dude, what a fucking fight. It was insanity. Oh, baby, Paulo Costa's back. Oh, he's back, baby. And he's here to stay. He's 34, which is unfortunate. Like, it just sucks that he's had so many years of his career wasted. Because when you can perform like that, dude, there's no reason why you shouldn't still be at the top of the 185 heap. I can see him beating so many of these new surging contenders. Like, I can see him beating Imavov. I can see him beating Cal Baralho. I can see him beating so many of these dudes. He's very high level, man. He's always been very underrated, man. His striking has always been incredibly underrated. Everyone always saw him as just this big muscular dude with big powerful punches. No, this guy is a very skilled volume puncher. He has good technical, crisp boxing and lightning fast kicks for his size. It's crazy. He's just kind of an anomaly of an athlete. He's fucking disgusting. Very physically strong. I don't care. Give him whatever he wants next. If he wants Chimaev next, if Chimaev goes and loses to DDP, which I think will happen, make that fight happen. Make that fight happen. Give Paulo Costa what he wants. He doesn't have much longer in the sport. He's extremely entertaining. This was an awesome performance. Like, Roman Kopylov looked pretty good, but he got shut down, dude. He got shut down. Paulo Costa beat him in every round of this fight. Aside from a few solitary left hands that Kopylov was able to land, a couple of like decent like snap body kicks. Like, his body kicks are lightning quick, but he just couldn't get going here. Paulo Costa was shutting him down with the kicks of his own. He actually outshined Kopylov with the kicks. Paulo Costa is fucking dirty. He's really good, man. After a performance like that, I cannot wait to see what he does next. I hope he stays consistent. I hope he sticks to whatever he's been doing. And I'm glad he shut up all the clowns on the internet talking, oh, he's tweaking at the press conference. Oh, look at him. He must be on something. What is he, on drugs? Like, it just shows that these internet dwellers have no real-life experience. These guys know nothing of what they're speaking of. Like, just get fucked. Paulo Costa, shit on all you guys. Shit on me as well, because I was expecting Roman Kopylov to win this one. But I'm so happy that Paulo Costa shut me the fuck up and proved me wrong. Because I love the guy, and he's super entertaining, great fighter, very underrated. Cannot wait to see what he does next. But that does conclude my thoughts on UFC 318. It was definitely a card to remember, despite being very bad on paper. This card delivered just yet another trash card on paper that turns out to be really good. Right, at this rate, like, in the Abu Dhabi card next weekend is just going to fall flat and just be a terrible card, because on paper it's fantastic, and I don't know, we're living in some bizarro world at this point. But anyway, guys, I appreciate you watching, and I'll see you on the next one.